Hand cannons, a mainstay of Destiny since its launch and popular weapon type, and even home to 10 of the exotics. At the start of Season 22, Bungie majorly buffed the hand cannons in PvE, giving them a major glow up. Damage changes being an additional 20% against red bars and an additional 75% against orange bars, on top of this giving a 15% buff to reload at base. But how does this change their performance in PvE overall? And which frame is now best for PvE? Let's take a look and see where some examples can be obtained. First up, 120 aggressive frames. Examples being Igneous Hammer from Trials, Round Robin, which is a craftable from Neomuna, and Pure Poetry from the Vanguard. These are the hardest hitting and longest range of the hand cannons. Next, 140 adaptive frames. Examples being the Kept Confidence, which is a Season 22 craftable, Nation of Beasts from the Last Wish raid, and Exalted Truth from Trials. The most popular hand cannon frame, and the poster child for Destiny gunplay experience. Now onto the 180 precision frames, examples being the Word of Crota from the Crota's End raid, Trust from Gambit, and Survivor's Epitaph from Crucible, the faster firing of the hand cannon family. Now for the aggressive burst frame. The only example is the freshly returned Warden's Law, which is obtainable through the Nightfalls and the Vanguard. Right, now that we got the data, let's take a look at the results. First up, the raw results. This is if never needing to reload, so a potential damage for the frames. For body shot, we can see that 180s have a pretty healthy lead here, between a 15 to 20% advantage compared to the other frames, although they do have a 5 meter lesser range in comparison to the longer range frames. When looking at crit damage, the newly returning aggressive burst wins here, as has a whopping 80% crit multiplier, but only a 2.5% over the 180s. The total value here is taking an average between the crit and the body values, to give a mixed value to understand a well-rounded perspective, and the 180s take the lead here too. So let's take a look at the values when reload and magazine size is taken into consideration. 180s manage to snatch up all the top spots now, pushing a lead of up to 27% in some places. As mentioned before, they are around 5 meters behind on the range stat. But 27 meters is still really nice range for hand cannons. 140s are only a little bit behind in terms of range, but behind by 8% on damage. Personally, I go for 180s in this range bracket. If looking for a 30 meter range hand cannon, the aggressive burst does really well in terms of damage at this range, but is temperamental at landing the shots at range due to its recoil. Warden's Law is the new Nightfall weapon. Is a kinetic, so it does get the additional 10% damage from that, but still not overly excited about its perk pool. What does everyone else think? Is Warden Law something that you're going for? So what am I going to do with the results? Personally, I'm going to focus on 180s for hand cannons, as over 27 meters I'm more likely to pick up a bow. My personal picks in the kinetic slot. For kinetic, I'm probably going to go for the Survivor's Epitaph. Not only is it a kinetic which grants an additional 10% damage, but it can get one for all, alongside options like Rapid Hit, Feeding Frenzy, Subsistence, and Surplus. As a stasis option, no easily farmable 180s here, so likely to go for Ice Luna, a really nice hand cannon, and has Unrelenting in the left column, which is really nice. As of choices for strand hand cannons, probably the new Kept Confidence. At first I didn't think much of this one, but after crafting it with collective action, and pairing it with a build that constantly spawns tangles, or an exotic for creating ionic traces, this hand cannon works really nicely. Now let's look at the energy slot. For Arc, hard not to go for the posterity. Volt Shot in the left column and Frenzy in the right column, absolutely amazing. Makes it one of the best hand cannons in the game. For solar options, Frontier's Cry from Iron Banner. When a weapon can get stats for all and one for all together, it's always going to be a must for me. Now for void options. It was a personal favourite in Destiny 1 and it's come back to be a personal favourite again of mine in Destiny 2. Word of Crota is an amazing hand cannon. My personal pick has been to have it with Enlightened Actions and Destabilizing Rounds. I got this role as a random drop and gave it a go and fell in love with it. So if building into Volatile, it's an absolute monster. This episode has been an update to our first series here, covering all weapon frames, and the first series in particular was covering primary weapons. Second season was covering special weapons, and the upcoming series covers heavy weapons. So if curious about other weapon types, you can check them out on the channel. What does everyone else think of the results? Is there a favourite hand cannon you have? Let me know in the comments section below. I'm really curious as to see what other people are using. Thank you so much for watching, and if this helped in any way, a like goes a long way to be able to support the channel, more than you'd ever know. And subscribe if you want to stay up to date on all the changes and the state of the Destiny sandbox. As always, stay safe and never let your tea go cold.